everyone, welcome back. Rebecca Jean here from Style My Sweets. Today I am bringing you some neutral fall DIY decor using items from the Dollar Tree. Actually, the last one is my favorite item, and I will give you a Dollar Tree alternative, although one of the pieces for it I did actually pick up in Walmart. All of the DIY decor in this video is going to be so beautiful for neutral decor, for modern farmhouse, rustic decor, rustic glam. And if that's not your thing, don't worry, stick around. I will have some traditional color fall decor coming soon. That should be the next video here on this channel. So make sure you are subscribed and don't forget to click the little bell so you'll be notified when that video goes up. Also, I wanted to remind you guys about my second channel, my more personal channel, Rebecca Jean, and I'm gonna have the link for that down in the description box. So I hope you go over, subscribe. I would love to have you join me over there and get to just connect with you guys a little bit more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know, and let's jump into these DIYs.
So for the first Dollar Tree DIY for fall here, I'm actually taking one of these Dollar Tree signs. This one was left over from Valentine's Day, and we are going to use the back of it so you can actually make this into a multi-purpose sign and use it for multiple holidays. But we're going to also take a placemat, and that's what I'm going to cover the back with. Now, I thought I would get the most use out of it this way and cut it lengthwise, but I started to do that, and then I quickly realized that the piece that was left, I would not have a single wide enough piece to cover the remaining portion. So do not do this. What you want to do is now what you'll see me do here. I ended up flipping this around, and you actually want to cut this on the short way. Hopefully that makes sense. You're cutting it across the shorter width instead of the longer width, so you'll be able to get two pieces that are the same width across, and then basically the two pieces will cover this entire board. I used a chalk marker to outline that. You won't really see it. You can just flip it over. I used a little bit of super glue to place the placemat onto that board. Next, I wanted to take a few of the little wooden tumbling tower game blocks and make the letters F and two letter L's. So what we're going to do here is just make these two high, and then I put the pieces across to create an F and to create two L's. And then I'm taking one of these little color your own wooden ornaments. You get 5 in a pack from Dollar Tree, and I am going to use one of these maple leaf ones to replace our letter A. I believe they have a pumpkin that would be super cute as well if you'd rather go with that. Now this part is optional, but I'm taking a little bit of this spackle from Dollar Tree. It's super light, soft, and fluffy, and I am just going to fill in that little ornament hanger hole. And then once that's dry, I came back and sanded it to a nice smooth finish. So if you want to paint over this, you'll have a nice flat smooth surface to paint over. And you could also do that for the little cracks in between the wooden tumbling tower blocks. Fill it in with a little bit of the spackle, and once it's dry, just sand that off. And that gave us a little bit smoother of a letter. The tricky part is I didn't really want to totally paint mine. I still wanted them to look like wood. So what I ended up doing was taking a little bit of this antique wax, and I will try to have these things linked below if you're trying to find any of these items. But I ended up taking the antique wax, and since I wanted it to still have the light wood look, honestly, you don't even need to put anything on here. You could just leave these totally natural wood, and I think that that would be so beautiful, and it would also give you the most contrast against that black and white placemat that we used. Alternatively, you could paint them white and just have nice bright letters, and since we filled it in with the spackle, they will look like smooth wood letters, and you won't see the little spacing in between the wooden blocks. But you'll still see it a little bit here because I was just using the antique wax. and brushing that on. I tried diluting it with a little bit of water. That gives you a little bit of a lighter stain, and that works. Or you can brush it on a little bit thicker and in more of like streaks, and then just wipe that off with a cloth. Either way, there's so many options just depending what you want your letters to look like. I also went around the edges of the maple leaf, and that way I was able to leave some of the wood very bright and natural, but also cover up at the top there where that hole had been. I'm going to arrange my letters on here and just attach them now with some hot glue right onto the sign. This part is optional, but if you don't like the way the little wooden edge of the board is visible, you can just take a black marker and color that in. I have a black oil Sharpie marker here, so I just did that. And now I am going to make a raffia bow. Instead of raffia, which the raffia is more readily available in Dollar Tree, but if you have one of those Hawaiian luau skirts left over from summertime, they make super great raffia replacement, and I like using them. They're much easier to tie and bend and fold. Way more convenient for all of your crafts and DIY projects. So I took just a couple strands off of one of those hula skirts and cut them in half, and that worked perfectly to tie a nice little raffia looking bow here for the fall. I added in some of the light color maple leaves that Dollar Tree has this year, along with one little cream color flower and a little cream colored pumpkin. They came for $1 in Dollar Tree with the bow. Hot glued that all together. If you want to have a hanger for your sign, I would recommend either you can leave the red one in that came in here, or just swap it out for like a piece of twine and knot that and put it in. But definitely actually do it before you glue down your placemat, because once you glue that on there, if you can see, the hole is already sealed over. So put your little piece of twine in there first, and then you can glue the placemat over it and you'll have a hanger. I should have thought of that before and I didn't, but I actually was just planning to stand this up on its own. I did this with neutral fall colors, with blacks and whites and browns, creams, tans. But of course, you could feel free to do this DIY in bolder colors, completely up to you. Moving on to the next one, I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree sink mats and also one of the 9-inch willow wreaths from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and just trace that out. What I want to do is cut out a portion from the sink mat to create a back for our wreath. I used some hot glue around the edges and glued that right onto the back of my willow wreath. Took this outside to spray paint it, and for a more neutral look, I decided to do something different and go with gray spray paint. I would recommend the spray paint, works great on the willow wreath. I just did a light coat of it, but for spray painting that plastic sink mat, you may end up finding that it's a little bit sticky. I do recommend doing really, really light coats and giving it a chance to dry so that it won't be sticky. Another option would be to paint the sink mat with chalk paint instead of spray paint. The chalk paint will dry much better, much quicker, and you won't get any stickiness left over. Next, I decided to take one of these little wooden plaques, also from Dollar Tree's newer craft section, and they also have some stencils there, so I picked up this stencil, and I am just going to stencil on the word gather. You could obviously do welcome, you could do happy fall, happy harvest, harvest blessings. I don't know, what would you put on here? There's so many options. And I'm just using a fine point Sharpie marker for this. I actually got this in Dollar Tree, and I'm not sure, would you leave it just with the word? I have the word gather on here, or would you add a design? Because I decided to try it with a design, but obviously I'm using a Sharpie marker, which is permanent, and I cannot go back and undo this. So I traced on this little like heart designs. To me, they kind of look like leaves, and I was like, oh, maybe for fall, this would be kind of cute. But now I don't know how I feel about it. So I just did them all a little bit different, and yeah, did a row on the top and the bottom, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. But what would you do? Do you like those, or would you skip it? I also brushed on a little bit of that antique wax all around the outside edge and just wiped that off, any excess, and glued it down into the center. I tried to arrange it so that the gather sign would have the sink mat behind it be on the diagonal so that they would look like diamond shapes behind it instead of straight squares. And again, I am going to add one of my little luau skirt raffia bows. I think this is just so adorable for a few strands out of the skirt. I'm getting so many DIYs out of that for just $1, which is awesome. And I'm gonna add in some of these little goldenrod stems. I think that's what these flowers are. Hot glue those in place. Actually, you should do the leaves first, and then the goldenrod flowers, and then add your bow last. I kind of did everything in reverse. I don't know why. I guess I was trying to figure out what I liked the look of. But anyway, yeah, if you like the look of this, then start from the bottom layer and work up. I also decided to add a little bit of the blue in, and then this little pumpkin, I'm just gonna twist that one in here, and it lost the stem. It keeps falling out, and I have so much craft stuff, and I cannot find where it is, but I have this little piece of plastic. These come out of the ends of the Dollar Tree floral arrangements. When I completely pull like a flower off of the end, these are left like what was holding the flower in place. And to be honest, it worked perfectly to paint it with a little bit of the antique wax to give it a little bit of that brown color. I had already had some of the brown paint on my brush, and I just stuck that in the center, and it made the perfect little stem for our pumpkin. Take a couple of the green leaves and glue those in just for a little accent color. Here is how it turned out. I think this looks pretty cute. Let me know what you think, and what are your thoughts on the sign? My thoughts are that I should have skipped those little heart leaf things that I added on there. I kind of don't like them now. I don't know, do you like having that part of the stencil, or would you skip it? I could go back and let me know what you guys think on this. Should I go back and paint that center sign over? I could like paint it all white and then re-stain the edges, and then I could just re-stencil something else on there. What are your thoughts? Anyway, for the next one, I am taking one of these large Dollar Tree pumpkin placemats, and I am going to cover it in nautical rope. Now, I am using one that I got on Amazon, and I will go ahead and try to link that one for you if I can find it, but I'm gonna just start around the outside of the pumpkin and just go around and around and around. I did kind of go up and down each section so that I left the spaces open, if that makes sense. And I just covered every part that was the orange placemat, but it does have cutout spaces, and I did leave the cutout space holes. I didn't cover the top. I'm gonna use that to actually just glue on some flowers and make it a little decoration, but here is what it looks like. And then I came over it with a lighter just to burn off any of those extra little threads and neaten it up. This is totally optional, but I think it gives it a cleaner, neater look. So it's up to you if you wanna do this step, but I like how it came together. And now I'm coming in with these maple leaves, again from Dollar Tree, along with blue roses, blue hydrangeas, and also some cream ivory color mums and things like that, and then mixing it in there with a couple of the green leaves off of the floral bouquets as well, just for a little bit of a touch of green in there. I think it just kind of complements the cream colors and the blue colors when we mix it up and we just add like a few natural green leaves. I'm also sticking in a couple more of the little pumpkins that were 4 for $1 from Dollar Tree. And then I had this sign that says Harvest Blessings, and I just took a knife and sliced that off so that I can use just the Harvest Blessings part. Obviously, be super careful if you're doing this, but I cut it off and hot glued it right on into the center of the pumpkin. And to be honest, now this pumpkin really looks like a rope pumpkin with a metal or metallic type sign. And I know my mom loves all of the rope decor, and like I said, all of the blues are gonna go really well at her house. And being a log cabin, the walls are pretty dark, so hopefully this is also going to brighten up the space. Moving on for the next one, I really love how this one turned out, and I think that this one might be my favorite one in this video, but definitely comment and let me know which one was your favorite. So I took 3 of these wooden square decor from Dollar Tree. These are actually for a wedding. They say we are getting married, but I liked that buffalo check pattern with the black and white checkered pattern on here. And what I'm going to do is actually take one of them and paint the inside tan wood portion, paint it all with my black chalk paint. And I'm taking another one and I'm painting that whole design on the top, painting that all with the black chalk paint as well. Now we're going to attach 2 of these boxes together so that they are inside to inside. So you are going to have one of the white "We're Getting Married" signs facing down against the table. It'll be the bottom of the stand. You can paint that if you want to, but nobody's going to probably be looking under there, so I wasn't going to worry about that. I have the design painted over with my black chalk paint, and I am taking 4 of these wooden dowels. These are actually from Walmart. Dollar Tree does have some that are about the same height, but they are much narrower. So it's completely up to you. You could do this with the narrower ones and just use the ones from Dollar Tree. I wanted the thicker ones for just a little bit more money from Walmart. You get 3 in a pack, so I did buy 2 packs and I still have 2 wooden dowels left over. So I already spray painted mine with a flat black spray paint. You can obviously just use your same chalk paint or whatever you're using for that center. Honestly, this would also be beautiful if you did the wooden dowels in a white paint and you painted the center portion white. I am attaching this whole thing together now using wood glue. You could do it with hot glue, but if you can get some wood glue, I highly recommend it. And I glued the 3rd sign upside down on top of the dowels now, and that's like the top of our little lantern here. But now I wanted to add some weight to really get a great hold on here, so I actually set my purse on top. It's pretty heavy. I have a lot of junk in there that I need to clean out. I feel like my purse is like a catch-all for the things I need to put away sometimes, and I'm going to just place that on top because I had it conveniently on hand, and just add some weight here. Once that's dry, go ahead and take your same paint. And again, I've got my black chalk paint. I'm going to paint the top of the lantern. Most of this is going to be covered now, but I did want to paint it just in case any of it shows through. So I'm taking some ribbon that I already had on hand. I just went through my ribbon stash to see what I had that I could use. And I had a variety of ribbons from Hobby Lobby and Michael's and Dollar Tree. But what I ended up deciding on was this cream color with a little bit of gold design in the middle. This was like leftover from, I don't know, last Christmas, I think, from Michael's. But you can use anything like this. Dollar Tree has plenty of ribbon choices. And then to go with it and complement it, I actually am going to layer 2 of the Dollar Tree ribbons. One of this wider, messier looking, very rustic burlap one. You know what? It's actually not burlap. It's more of like a woven twine, because they do have a burlap ribbon, but it's like a cleaner, neater look. And this one has just that little bit of like whimsical touch, but I'm going to layer that underneath the burlap ribbon that has the white lace on it. And I am just gathering these up into about 5 loops. Usually I do 5 loops. I gather them together and tie off the ends of the loops. I knot them off with an elastic band to keep everything in place. I always save the elastic bands that come on my produce, like when I buy bunches of broccoli or asparagus or anything like that that comes with an elastic band on it. I always save them, and they come in handy around the house, and I probably will never need to buy elastic bands again because I always save them and just reuse them for stuff like this. So once I have my little bow bundles, I'm going to hot glue those down onto the top side by side. So one way you have the bow facing and the little tails of the bow hanging off. And then I'm gonna fill in the other side of it now with Dollar Tree florals. And for that, I am using a mixture of the light colored maple leaves that they have, the navy blue roses and the blue hydrangeas, also some of the white berries. These are just really festive. I feel like these are so pretty for Christmas time too. And I think that this lantern, depending on your colors for Christmas, I think you could swap out a few of the flowers, make a couple little changes, and this is going to be so beautiful both for fall, for Thanksgiving, but also for Christmas and winter time as well. It's just going to be some beautiful Christmas decor, so you can definitely keep this all fall and all winter long. I used a lot of florals. I really wanted to make this super full and beautiful, and I tied a little pumpkin in there. You can tie in some of those little pumpkin add-ins or use whatever floral picks that you like, but I've got a couple of the white cream color mum flowers. Those were really pretty. One bouquet of the roses, one bouquet of the hydrangeas, like I said, some of the maple leaves and the white berries, and I think this just looks so beautiful. It would honestly go well even with glam decor. I think Rustic Glam is this is very Rustic Glam to me, with the buffalo check and a little bit of the touches of the gold in the ribbon. But I think I'm going to be giving this to my mom, again, with the blues. It's going to be perfect at her house, but it makes a beautiful statement centerpiece. You could place this, it's large enough that you could honestly even put this on the floor in the corner or put it on the hearth by your fireplace. It is just so beautiful and such a statement piece. And I love these timer candles. I'm going to have them linked below if you want to check them out, but they do come in a trio of 3. They have a remote control with a timer. They have such a realistic flicker, and they definitely completed the lantern. But if you don't want to put candles in there, you could always just place a few pumpkins inside it, and I think that looks pretty cute as well. So definitely comment and let me know which one of these ideas was your favorite today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe before you go. I would love to have you, and don't forget to click the little bell so you will be notified whenever I upload something new. I wish you a beautiful and blessed day, and I can't wait to see you soon in the next one.